Alright, what we're doing now is we're going to put some Dynamat in Mike's car. No, it's not Dynamat. It might be Kill Mat, it might be Mat 60, it might be Hush Mat. I don't know. We got all kinds of different stuff. It's all 80 mil. It all works the same, so it's all covered by carpet and it'll be fine. But the trick is when you put this stuff in, you can't really test fit it because once it's stuck, it's pretty well stuck. And then we got to go around and just kind of roll it out to get any areas that are sticking up. We don't want any air pockets in it. We'll get the whole inside of this car done. And this helps also when I paint the engine compartment. All these holes in the dash, they're going to be covered with Kill Mat, and we'll cut it out afterwards. Or we might cut it out first and get in here and tape it up. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what we're going to do for now, is get it covered up. This stuff really works nice for both your HVAC and also for any kind of rattles you may have in the car, road noise, tire noise, all that. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I can't recommend enough to somebody that's doing a car to put this in your car. Make sure that there's no rust evident anywhere. You know that we do that already anyway. We get rid of rust. But anywhere that it was welded, I like to use a POR 15, which is it's a kind of an epoxy, but it stops rust, any kind of thing. And where we've done all our spot welds, putting in all the floor braces and whatnot, they're gonna rust. It's bare metal, so you got to make sure you clean that all up and go from there. So let's get some Matt in here. Matt. That's why I have Matt do it, because his mother knew when he was born what he was going to be doing. February 17th, 2022. She says, I think I'll call him Matt. Well, there's all the sound deadener we put in the car. We ran out, so I got to order some more, because we're also going to do the inside of the roof of the car, the trunk, and if you look in here, Mustangs were always the fuel tank. The fuel tank sets in the bottom of the trunk and just screws in. The seat, the back of the rear seat, would just hang here, and that would be an opening. So there was a time when there was an issue with these cars getting rear-ended and spraying fuel all through the engine compartment. So we're making a plate to cover that off, and then we're going to Dynamat it. This cabin of this car is going to be completely sealed from sound. It's actually going to be really nice. You're not going to hear any rattles. It's going to give it a good kind of a Cadillac feel to it. But I recommend if you're going to redo a car, use this stuff. All right, I've decided what we're going to do first is paint the engine compartment, simply because of all the little nooks and crannies and intricacies of it, and the fact that we'll have to turn the car back over and over this way and over that way while we're doing it, and also trying to pay particular attention to the exposed body panels that are going to show that those are what we really want to come out phenomenal. You know that we've already done the rhino liner on the bottom of this car, so we've got to cover that and protect that no matter what we're painting. But basically what we're going to do is the inside of the engine compartment, the outsides of the aprons, the radiator support, the firewall, and that'll give us a good chance to see, because the sealer that I'm using, it's a PPG sealer that I've never used before, so we want to try that out in an area that if something were to go wrong, we can cover it. We'll be fine. But so we'll get this done first, and then painting the outside of the car will become a lot easier for us a couple of days after we do this. So we've got a lot of rain happening outside right now. The roof's not the greatest on the building, so we got a little bit of a drip in there. So today's not going to be a paint day. Hopefully tomorrow we can get the engine compartment knocked out and let it sit in there for a couple days and cure real good, and then we can pull the tape off and get ready to do the body. But right now all I'm doing is about a lot of bagging and papering and taping and so forth. So once we get it all covered up and get it ready to start heading towards the booth, we'll touch base with you then and show you what we got going on.
What's going on, everybody? You see we got the piece in. We ran out of dynamite or whatever, Mat 66, whatever it is. So Jim ordered some, it's on the way. As soon as we get it, we'll give you another update here. Yeah. But that's it.
Hey everybody, this one you saw earlier today, we were doing the sound deadener in it, and we started back taping, and let me explain what it is that we're going to do. I'm going to paint the engine compartment first, because like I said, it's going to be easier to flip this car back and forth, get all the little nooks and crannies, and then worry about the body later on. So we've had all day long taping up Mike's car to get it painted, and it's also been taped for when we do paint the body of the car. All we have to do is pull off the cover that we're going to use on it to keep overspray when we do the engine compartment. So if you look underneath, you see the bottom's all covered up because we've rhino lined that car some time ago. Want to keep that neat and clean. This is going to protect us from any kind of dust that gets in the paint. Sure, there'll be some, there always is, but we'll be able to take care of it, and this goes a long way to stopping what any that could come out of anywhere, because we've done numerous rounds of sandblasting on this car. Different areas that we were working on got sandblasted more than some of the other areas, so there's sand everywhere. Now, we washed this car yesterday endlessly with a hose. I wet sanded it. Then we put the heat pressure washer on it, cleaned it all out. I'm still getting sand out of places in this car. It's just going to happen. So you need to keep that in mind when you're getting ready to go to paint something. If you've done any kind of sandblasting, even if you've been real diligent with rolling the car over and blowing it out and doing all kinds of stuff, there's still sand that is going to come out of there, because as you pass by somewhere with a paint gun, like here, it will create a vacuum and suck anything out of the inside. Now, when we did the sound deadener inside, look in here. When we did the sound deadener inside, I did not cut out any of the holes for the firewall, the floor, the seat bolts, anything like that. We'll leave them covered until after the car's painted. That way, it just protects us even more. So that's where we're at on this. We're having some weather, so we're not putting color on it today. I'd really like to get some color on this engine compartment tomorrow. The Stig has been over here doing all the front end assembly for it, and getting the rear end done, all new bearings in the rear end. So once this car's in color, it's going to be easy to make it a roller, and we can do the things that we need to do and then give it back to Mike, because he wants some of it to be a father-son project. So the interior, things like that, he'll be able to do them. But the real big news, okay, not that all of it isn't real big news anyway. We got, if you go over to, and Joe put a link in down below here somewhere, to Ryan Barsness's channel. He is a Mopar aficionado out of Minnesota, okay, where they make the My Pillows. We've talked to you about this before, but it's come to fruition. The car will be on its way. He is dragging the car out of the woods to build it for the No Name Nationals, which is coming up the end of September, 1st of October in Sikeston, Missouri at Jeffers Motorsports Park. We're going. It's a very fluid thing. We're trying to figure out exactly what's going to go. I've got a call out with AHRA. We're going to race his tow pig against my tow pig, which is still not done yet. We're still waiting on parts for that. But its maiden voyage is going to be Sikeston, Missouri, either pulling a two-car trailer or pulling a big camper trailer. So one of the two. So, but what he's pulling this 66 Belvedere 2 out of the woods, and he's going to build it specifically for the No Name Nationals. I found out about Ryan quite by mistake. I do a search every once in a while. Sometimes it can be 6 months, sometimes it might be a year, whatever. I've specifically been looking for a big block 383 white interiored 71 Plymouth Satellite Sebring Plus. Well, I just happened to be wasting time on YouTube, and I found a guy that has a white interior, big block, 71 Satellite Sebring Plus. My car was red. My initial intention, if I found one of these cars, was to paint it red and match the car I had when I was 17 years old. This particular car that I'm getting actually still has a fender tag in it and everything. It's an original FC7 in violet, or plum crazy as some of you may know it, purple car with a white interior. So we're leaving that color. It's a 383 car, but we're putting a 440 in it, changing it from an automatic to a pistol grip 4-speed, because everybody knows a good big block Plymouth, B-body Plymouth, has to have a pistol grip shifter in it. I mean, it's just how it is. But let me show you what we got. Let me see this for a minute. There's the car right there, and that's, for the most part, exactly what it's going to look like when I get it done. So you're like, but Jim, you don't have much time to get that done. No, I don't, but we're going to get it done and hopefully bring it to Sikeston, Missouri. Now, I've had that 1/18th car for quite a while. I've got several different incarnations of that car, because to me, that is probably one of the sexiest B-body Plymouths ever made. It comes at the end of an era. 1971 was the absolute peak for Chrysler and their performance program. 72, not so much. 71, they were still making a pretty stout car. Don't, you know, any people that have 72s are like, but mine's powerful too. Sure it is, but 71, like 69, 68, late 67, even some 66s, Chrysler started building some really crazy cars. And that was a very short-lived period of time for Mother Mopar to build these cars. This is at the end. The car that Ryan's building is at pretty much at the beginning. There were, don't get me wrong, I know people are, it started in 64, Max Wedge car, whatever, I know, but for the sake of argument, 66 to 71 was pretty much Chrysler's heyday for these cars. 40 years I've been trying to find the exact car I wanted. The problem is they're either done and outrageously priced, or they're rotted to the door handles. The car I'm getting from Ryan, you can, like I said, we're going to put a link to his video so you can see it. It looks rough, but if you've ever been in this business, it doesn't look that rough. It's a California car, so it's not rusty, so I'm not pulling body panels or anything like that. It's basically going to be continue the disassembly on the car, media blast it, and start getting some color to it and build a drivetrain. So we're going to do that. So that's it. They called me out. They want to race that Belvedere 2 against my satellite. I accept the call out. Okay, now there's a lot of fail safes here. We have a lot of time to get this done, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of time. So if Ryan is able to get his car done and I'm able to get my car done, they're both going to be in Sykeston and we're going to race them. I want to do it 2 out of 3 because his car is going to be an automatic with a pretty built 440. We're going to build a stout 440, but it's going to be kind of a good street car. So I want to do 2 out of 3 simply because his is an automatic and mine's a 4-speed. I'm going to screw up probably, who knows. But with a 2 out of 3, we should be able to average it out, and it's going to be a great show. People are going to like seeing it. We're also going to have a 70 Super B there. So that's a 383 pistol grip 4-speed car. So there's going to be a real good showing of Mopars from this part of the country, and I know that there's a lot of guys out there that are going to bring some cool Mopar stuff. I had suspected in the very beginning when Dallas Brown and John Wilburn started talking about the No Name Nationals, this was kind of going to be a Mopar-y type show. And it's not planned that way, but I think that's how it's going to end up. The favorites are going to be Mopar cars, and the fact that we're going to take you along on this journey as we build this car specifically to go to this show with. We were going to do drag trucks so we could race. I don't care. We do restorations. We race too, but we're not in the business of racing. There's a lot of guys that are in the business of racing. We're in the business of making cars pretty and making cars shiny and making cars operate correctly and be pretty much true to the way they were when they came out of the factory. So we're going to take care of that. Ryan's going to take care of his car. We're going to get some color on this Mustang here very shortly, so stay tuned. A lot of stuff coming up. I believe the 25th. The car's getting delivered, so we'll probably do a co-video with Ryan and his dad dropping the car off, talking a little bit about it. He wants to walk around the shop and see what we got going on, and we'll go from there. There's going to be a lot of videos, the trials and tribulations of building a 71 satellite in just a few months on basically no budget, but we can do it. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.